All right, guys. So we're going to jump into the translations, or at least the first two of four translations from stage 8 of Cambridge Latin. I'm breaking this into two videos so that each video isn't too long, and so you can find the translations that you want to for any help you need with the grammar. So let's jump into this one. Regulus erat senator Romanus. So Regulus was a Roman senator. Now, a couple things to note here. So erat is the verb, imperfect form of sum, regulus, and senator. So this is the subject of erat, and senator is it's called a predicate nominative. But we've said that sum is a copulate verb, and therefore it takes two nominatives. Now, he's a Roman senator. Romanus is the adjective. It's a positive degree adjective describing senator. And we notice these are both nominative masculines, but senator is third declension and Romanus is second. So Regulus was a Roman senator. In villa magnifica habitabat. So the main verb, imperfect tense verb, is habitabat. It's from habito. Habito means to inhabit or to live in, whereas habeo, we need to know this difference, means to have. So habitabat, he was living, and then prepositional phrase right here, in a villa magnifica, in a magnificent, grand house. This is a prepositional phrase, which is a locatival ablative, right? So magnifica and villa, both first declension. So he was living in a magnificent house. Villa erat prope nunceria. So the house, nominative subject, was imperfect tense verb, prope, near nunceria. Prope is a preposition that takes a accusative. So the house was near Nunceria. And Nunceria is a region. It's a city. So Nuncerini, the Nuncerians, at Pompeiani, the Pompeians, erat inimici. So they weren't on good terms. The Nuncerini and the Pompeians were enemies. Imperfect tense verb. Notice that the plural nominative right here is the predicate nominative that is describing both collectively the Nuncerians and the Pompeiani. All of these are second declension. So Nuncerini, quod amphitheatrum non habebant, saepe ad amphitheatrum Pompeianum veniebat. So the Nuncerians, right? Nominative subject, plural, quod, because, non habebant, they were not having, they didn't have. Notice that this is habeo, not habito. They did not have. Also notice that I'm not saying they were not having. It's weird in English to say they were not having an amphitheater, because they did not have an amphitheater. This is one of the times that I'm going to translate an imperfect tense verb, probably closer to a perfect tense verb. You have to do that to make the English sound fluid. So direct object of that is obviously amphitheater. So the Nuncerians, because they did not have an amphitheater, saepe, often, this is an adverb, often, ad amphitheatrum, so often to the amphitheater. What amphitheater is it? The adjective is Pompeianum. To the Pompeian amphitheater, veniebat, were coming. So let's put it all together. The Nuncerians, because they did not have an amphitheater, often were coming to the Pompeian amphitheater. So saepe, adverb used here again, often erant turbulenti. Often they were noisy, rowdy, right? We get turbulent and turbulence from this. Also, erant, copulate verb, it is taking this predicate nominative in the nominative plural because it is describing the Nuncerini. Nuncerini would be the subject of both erant and veniebat. It's also the subject of habebant right there inside that quote clause. Regulus olem spectaculum splendidum and amphitheatro edidit. So, subject to this is Regulus. Regulus, once, olem, it's an adverb there, once, edidit, gave, perfect tense verb from Edo. So he presented, he gave. What did he give? A splendidum spectaculum, a splendid show, splendid spectacle. These are second declension neuter, right? Second declension neuter. They are, this is the noun and this is the adjective describing it. It's the direct object of A did it. So once Regulus gave a splendid, a marvelous show, then in the amphitheater. This is a prepositional phrase taking a locatival adjective. Quod, because celebrabat, because he was celebrating, imperfect tense verb, diem natalem. You put in brackets there, his birthday. Day is diem and natalem is birth. So if you know anyone named Natalie, or if you've ever heard of a nativity, then you'll know what that's from. Or words like postnatal, means birth. So putting it all together, Regulus once gave a splendid show in the amphitheater because he was celebrating his birthday. Multi nuncerini igitur ad urbem venerunt. So many nuncerini. This is nuncerini is the subject, nominative, plural. Notice that multi is the adjective and multi is coming before nuncerini. Words or adjectives that describe quantity will come before, whereas other words, other adjectives that like natalem is coming after diem. So most adjectives in Latin come after the words that they modify. Words or adjectives that describe quantity come before. So many nuncarians, igitur, adverb, therefore, ad urbem, so prepositional phrase, to the city, with an accusative there in that prepositional phrase, ad takes an accusative, venerunt, came. So putting it all together, many nuncarians therefore came to the city. And by this city, they're talking about Pompeii. So the cives Pompeiani, so Pompeiani here is actually being described is an adjective being used to describe the cives. So the Pompeian citizens. Now, cives is third declension and Pompeiani is second declension. But the Pompeian citizens, it's okay that they're two different declensions. They're still both plural, nominative, and masculine. So the Pompeian citizens, erant, imperfect form sum, were errati, angry. Now, you might also ask, I know that I've talked about this in class, why are these, why not put it in the neuter? Why is it in the masculine? Surely these are not all just men who are angry. It is not that. It's that in Roman, if you have a group, even if it's 99% female and there's one male, it will revert to the masculine. Sorry, Latin has inbuilt misogyny to it. We just have to sort of accept, well, not accept, we have to understand what it was at the time. So the Pompeian citizens were angry. Why are they angry? Quote, because nuncarini complebant vias, because the nuncarians were filling the streets. So nuncarini, nominative plural subject of the imperfect verb complebant, vias, accusative direct object. Plural, first declension right there. Omnes tamen ad forum contenderant ubi nuntiis stabant. So omnes, third declension, nominative subject, everyone, contenderant, hurried, perfect tense verb, tamen, adverb, however, ad forum, to the forum, prepositional phrase, ad takes that accusative. Forum is obviously a second declension neuter, but it's we know that it's accusative right here because that odd. Ubi, where, so it's describing the place. It's an adverbial clause describing that. Where, nunti, second declension nominative subject of stabant, imperfect tense verbs, where the announcers were standing. So putting it all together, everyone, however, rushed to the forum where the announcers were standing. Nuntii spectaculum optimum nuntiabant. So nunti is the subject and nuntiabant is the verb. So nominative plural and imperfect plural. So the announcers were announcing And the direct object in the accusative is the spectaculum optimum, the best show. Optimum is, it's an irregular form, but it's technically a superlative adjective. I know that we went through in the grammar of superlative adjectives. This is an irregular form. Like anything in Latin, there's always exceptions. But the positive form is bonus, good. Melior is comparative, better. And optimus is best. Notice that it's modifying a spectaculum. So it is the adjective, both are neutered. So the announcers were announcing a very good or the best show. Gladiatores ad sunt. So the gladiators are present. Notice that it's 2 for the price of 1 if you know ad, and sunt is from soon to be, and ad is at. So they are at. The gladiators are at this place. So the gladiators are present. Vigenti gladiatores hodie pugnant. So vigenti gladiatores. Gladiatores and gente are a nominative. If anyone's taken French, you'll know the word vent, meaning 20. So vigenti means 20 gladiators today. This is an adverb describing the time. So 20 gladiators today, pugnant, fight, are fighting. This is a present tense verb. And it's the subject is plural, so the verb is plural. We can tell by that nt on the end. Retarii ad sunt. So a rhetarius is another type of gladiator. We talked in the model sentences about the myrmilion. The myrmiliones are a specific type that look like gulls. The retarii look like fishermen. So they fight with tridents and nets. They're very lightly armored. Remember, think about this like classes in a video game. So the retarii, nominative, second declension, plural, subject of ad sunt. The retarii are present. Myrmiliones ad sunt. Myrmiliones is third declension, nominative, subject of ad sunt. The myrmiliones are present. Bestiarii agitant bestias feroces. So the bestiarii are another type. They're beast hunters, right? So the bestiarii agitat. So we've seen agit before, and it's meant a bunch of things. You can put on a play with ago. You can drive oxen. In this case, this is like chase, or pursue or hunt. It's one of those words, one of those verbs that has a lot of different meanings in different contexts. So it's a present tense verb with the subject. It's plural. So both the verb and the subject are plural. The bestiarii hunt, bestias, beasts, feroces, so ferocious beasts. Feroces, ferox is a third declension accusative plural, and it is modifying this first declension accusative plural, both of which are feminine. Feroces could be anything, could be feminine, feminine, masculine, or neuter, because it's third declension. It can be any, but it goes with, and we know it's going to be feminine because bestias is feminine. So putting it all together, the bestiarii hunt or are hunting ferocious beasts. Pompeiani, so the Pompeians, postquam, after nuntios audiverunt, so after they heard, perfect tense verb, the accusative direct object is nuntios, so it's an accusative second declension plural. So the Pompeians, after they heard the announcers, ad amphitheatrum quam clarime contenderent. So another perfect tense verb. They rushed, they hurried. This is ad amphitheatrum is a prepositional phrase ad plus an accusative to the theater, quam clarime. Now, quam clarime is called a clause of comparison. You just have to sort of remember when you see quam that it means usually as something as possible. And celer is quickly, so quam clarime is as quickly as possible. So putting it all together, the Pompeians, after they heard the announcers, rushed to the amphitheater as quickly as possible. So just remember when you see little phrases of a quam, plus a word that follows it is going to be translated as something as possible. So as quickly as possible here. Nuncarini quoque ad amphitheatrum festinaverunt. So the Nuncarians, subject, festinaverunt, the perfect tense verb, hurried, quoque, adverb, also ad amphitheatrum, prepositional phrase, ad plus accusative to the amphitheater. So the Nuncarians hurried also to the amphitheater. Omnes, nominative subject, everybody. Vehementer, adverb, so vehemently, noisily, right? Everyone vehemently, Klamabad, imperfect tense verb, was shouting. Everyone was vehemently or loudly shouting. Pompeiani et Nuncarini, both are nominative plurals. So the Pompeians and the Nuncarians, postquam, after, intraverunt amphitheatrum, after they entered the amphitheater. So perfect tense verb plus accusative direct object. What did they enter? They entered the amphitheater. So the Pompeians and Nuncarians, after they entered the amphitheater, taquerunt, perfect tense verb, were quiet. So Pompeians and Nuncarians, after they entered the amphitheater, were quiet. Primum pugnam expectabant. Imperfect tense verb, they were waiting for. Primum pugnam, the first fight. Alrighty, let's jump to the second translation. In arena, so in the arena, duo retarii, so two retarii, two of those ones that fought with tridents and nets, et tu myrmiliones intraverunt arena. So both of these are the subject of intraverunt. Notice that duo is modifying retarii as it is myrmiliones. Numbers are a little bit different in terms of how they decline. We'll go over this in a later stage. Just if you have a number that's by a noun, that's probably modifying it. So two retarii and two myrmiliones. These are collectively the plural subjects of intraverunt. Perfect tense verb, entered, direct object, the accusative, the arena. Postquam, gladiatores, spectores, salutarunt. Now, this is a little bit hard because both gladiatores and spectatores are third declension, which means that they could either be nominatives or accusatives. So you have to use context here. So postquam, we know that's going to be after. The gladiatores, it's the first one, so it's probably going to be the subject. So after the gladiators, salutarunt, perfect tense verb, greeted, saluted the spectators. That makes much more sense than saying the spectators said hi to the gladiators. Usually if someone's coming on stage, they will greet their audience more so than the audience will greet the performers. So after the gladiators greeted the spectators, tuba sonunt. So a horn, we get the word tuba from this, a horn sounded. A horn sounded, perfect tense verb right there. Then, tum, adverb right there, gladiatores, pugnam commisserunt. So then the gladiators, nominative subject, plural, began, commisserunt, perfect tense verb, the pugnam, the fight, accusative direct object. We know that pugnam has to be the direct object because even though gladiatores could be accusative because it's third declension, the verb is plural, just like that subject. So then the gladiators began the fight. Myrmiliones Pompeianos valde delectabant. So the Pompeianos we know has to be an accusative plural. Myrmiliones could be accusative or it could be a nominative plural. But because this is accusative, definitely we know that Myrmiliones has to be the subject right there. So valde is an adverb. So the Myrmiliones very greatly, adverb, delighted, or were delighting, imperfect verb, the Pompeians. Quod, because, saipe, another adverb, often, errant verb, they were victores, winners. Victores is also nominative here because errant is copulate, so it's a perfect form of sum. Putting it all together, the Myrmiliones were greatly delighting the Pompeians because they were often the winners. Pompeiani, nominative subject, plural. The Pompeians, igitur, adverb, therefore. Myrmiliones, accusative direct object, incitabat. So imperfect, plural, were encouraging or were urging on. So the Pompeians, therefore, were urging on the Myrmiliones. So they were cheering for them. Said, but, so this is a conjunction right there, said retarii, the net fighters, because, quote, errant, imperfect form sum, plural, because they were expediti, because they were lightly armored. This is nominative plural modifying retarii because errant is a copulate, so but the retarii because they were lightly armored. Mormones, now this could be nominative or could be accusative. We know that it's accusative because we've already got our subject, retarii. But the retarii, because they were lightly armored, facile evitaverant, perfect tense verb, and then facile is an adverb, easily evaded the Myrmiliones. So putting it all together, but the retarii, because they were lightly armored, easily evaded the Myrmiliones. Next sentence, retarii non pugnant, retarii sunt ignavi. So the retarii is a nominative plural subject of the plural verb, plural present tense verb, pugnant, non is an adverb. The retarii are not fighting. Retarii sunt ignavi. The retarii are cowards. Sunt is present tense form, sum plural, and again it's copulate, so it's going to take that predicate nominative. So they're both in the nominative. So the retarii are not fighting, the retarii are cowards, exclaimed, perfect tense verb, clamaurant, Pompeiani. That's the subject, clamaurant, exclaimed the Pompeians. Nuncerini tamen responderant, so the Nuncerians, however, tamen adverb, responded, so nominative plural, perfect tense plural verb, the Nuncerians, however, responded, retarii sunt calidi. So same construction as over here. The retarii are clever. Retarii Myrmiliones decapiunt. The retarii deceive or outwit the Myrmiliones. Right? So nominative subject, plural, nominative present tense, not nominative, sorry, present tense plural verb, and accusative third declension, a direct object. The retarii deceive the Myrmiliones. Myrmiliones, retarios frustra ad pugnam pro cavarunt. So the Myrmiliones could be accusative or could be nominative. We know that it's nominative because retarios is in the accusative with that os ending, accusative plural. So they're the subject. Myrmiliones is the subject. Myrmiliones pro cavarunt. So woco is to call and pro is forward. So they're inviting them to fight. So we get the word provoke from this. So the Myrmiliones called forward, they invited the retarios, the retarii, to fight ad pugnam, so to the fight itself. Frustra. Frustra is an adverb here. It means in vain. So the Myrmiliones invited the retarii to the fight in vain. Adverb, then myrmilo, so this is a singular nominative. So then a myrmilo, perfect tense verb, clamavit, exclaimed, shouted. Unus myrmilo, facile duros retarios superat. So one myrmilo, facile, easily, adverb, superat, to supero means to overcome or to beat. So one myrmidio easily beats duros rotarios, two rotarii, accused of direct object. So putting it all together, then a myrmilo shouted, one myrmilo easily beats two rotarii. So he's trash talking here. You have to also think that these gladiatorial fights were a lot like professional wrestling today. They were very, very heavily staged, and they were very much for the spectacle. Romans loved spectacle, but unlike the fights today, people did get killed. If it was professional gladiators fighting, it was unlikely that they would get killed, but they could die. They could die, unlike professional wrestling today, although people have died in the ring these days in wrestling. It's just not supposed to happen. So the Pompeiani plauserat, the Pompeians applauded. Both are plural. This is a perfect tense verb. Tum myrmilo, then the myrmilo. Petiwit, attacked, perfect tense verb. Rotarios statim, immediately, statim adverb, the rotarii. So then the myrmilo attacked rotarii at once, immediately. Myrmilo et rotarii ferocator pugnaverunt. So notice that we have a plural verb here, a plural perfect verb, pugnaverunt. We have a adverb, so ferociously, and then we have a singular nominative, myrmilo, because it's only one myrmilo that's fighting, and a plural rotarii, plural nominative. Now, myrmilo et rotarii are both collectively the subjects of pugnaverunt. So the myrmilo and rotarii fought ferociously or fiercely. Rotarii tandem, so the rotarii, the two rotarii, nominative subject of vulneraverunt, the rotarii wounded, tandem, adverb at last, myrmelionem, so it's third declension, this is the direct object, when receiving the wound. Graviter, another adverb, gravely, seriously. So putting it all together, the rotarii at last wounded the myrmilo seriously wounded him. Tum, adverb, then rotarii alterum myrmilionem petiverunt. So then the rotarii attacked, perfect tense verb, the other myrmilo. So again, numbers, quantities, adjectives come before the nouns that they're describing. Alterum comes from the same word as alternate, so it means the other. Hic myrmilo, so hic is it's an adjective, it's a demonstrative that is saying this myrmilo, this particular gladiator. So this myrmilo, accusative subject, nominative subject of pugnawit, a perfect tense verb. This myrmilo fought fortiter, adverb bravely. This myrmilo fought bravely. Said, but, it's a conjunction, but, rotarii, nominative subject, quoque, adverb also, superaverunt, beat, overcame, perfect tense verb, eum. This is a demonstrative pronoun there, him. It's an accusative direct object of superaverunt. So putting it all together, this myrmilo fought bravely, but the rotarii also beat him. Pompeiani, quod errati errant, so the Pompeians, because they were angry, myrmiliones vituperabant. So the Pompeians, because they were angry, were cursing, were yelling at the myrmiliones, accusative direct object of vituperaba. Vituperabant, imperfect verb, accuse the nominative subject, which is Pompeiani. So missionem tamen postulabant. So still the implied subject of postulabant is the Pompeians. The Pompeians, tamen, however, postulabant, were demanding, or they were asking for, and missionem is the release. They were asking for these two wounded myrmiliones to be spared, because because they're kind of, it's like Mortal Kombat. They're swaying. Are you going to finish them off, or are you going to let them free? It depends on how well they fought, usually, that the crowd would vote on this. So why are they demanding this? Well, they were demanding, however, their release, quod, because murmillones fortes erat, because the murmillos were in perfect form of sum, fortes, brave or strong, right? Nuncarini, so you've got this whole rivalry between the Nuncarians and Pompeians. Nuncarini mortem postulabant. So the Nuncarians were demanding or asking for their death. You put their in brackets. So the Nuncarians wanted them to die. Omnes spectatores tacebant. So everyone, all the spectators. So notice that omnes here is the adjective that is describing spectatores. We've seen it used by itself previously as the subject, but here it's being used as an adjective. So all the watchers, all the spectators, imperfect, were silent. At regulum intente spectabant. So, and they were watching Regulus intently. So this is a plural imperfect verb. And we know that they're watching Regulus as opposed to Regulus is watching them, because regulum is second declension. It is an accusative singular, and intente is the adverb. So why are they watching him intently? Well, this is his show. He put it on. He's a senator. Senators are obscenely wealthy in Roman culture. The class divide between a wealthy Roman and an average Roman was beyond what we can imagine. And so they would put on these public shows. And ultimately, they would, since it was their shows, they would decide, they would have the final kind of say in things like this, whether someone in the arena got to live or die. Regulus, quod nuncarini mortem postulabant, pollicem ubertit. So Regulus, because the Nuncarini, the Nuncarians, postulabant, imperfect, were demanding, were asking. And then what were they asking for? The accusative direct object is the death, because they were asking for the gladiator's death. What did he do? Vertit, he turned. And what did he turn? The accusative direct object, his pollux, his pollicem. It is his thumb. Now, you've probably seen this. It's common knowledge in culture that if you want someone to die, you turn your thumb down, and that will be the sign that they should be executed. We don't actually fully know. We know that they turned, that the turning of the thumb was a symbol of whether the gladiator should be executed or whether someone should be executed in the arena. We don't actually know, though. There's a lot of debate about this, whether the downturning of the thumb meant dying or it was an upturning of the thumb. We just know that they turned the thumb. And people have been arguing about this for a very long time. And you'll see people have different opinions, and often they have very strong opinions about this. So we'll put it all together. Regulus, because the Nuncarians were demanding death, turned his thumb. Put his in brackets. Also note that he is listening to what the Nuncarians want, because where is he from? He has his estate near Nuncaria. So the Pompeiani erant irati. The Pompeians were mad. Now you come into our amphitheater and then you kill our favorites. That's not good. So Pompeiani erant irati et vehementer clamabant. So, and they vehemently and they angrily, adverb, were shouting, imperfect verb. Retarii tamen, so the retarii, however, adverb, postquam Regulus signum dated, after Regulus, nominative subject, dated, gave, perfect, the sign, that is to say the sign of turning his thumb, signum is the direct object, interfecurant, killed the direct object, murmillones. So putting it all together, the retarii, however, after Regulus gave the sign, killed murmillones. Okay, so We got a little bit of culture in there. We got through a translation. Hopefully that answered all of your questions. If you have any other questions, we'll discuss it in class, or you can send me an email. All righty.